Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. So Diablo and I just watched season 1, episode 1, and it's always striking to look at that Snot Boogie scene. So I'm going to ask Diablo, who grew up in the city, to give some commentary about what he saw and what he thought about in that first scene with dead body laying on the ground, police talking to an unnamed guy.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, really, I feel as though that it was very interesting to show like the nature of it because when it started out, it just looked like a regular scene about somebody getting killed, but it was more important about how he got his name. I thought that was genius too. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So it took a whole murder scene, and really the murder scene ain't how he got his name. So I was supposed to say that was a genius in writing on
mhm.
that mode. I really like that. But by him getting his name from coming out having a snotty nose, and they just see it and just call him Snot Boogie after that. That definitely happens in the neighborhood. Sometimes your mother do give you a name, and then your family give you a nickname, and then sometimes your nickname don't make it to the streets. And sometimes the streets name you.
Okay. So we learn a lot of things in that first scene, right? Some cultural things. We heard about the craps games.
Yeah, that wasn't right. I couldn't see that. Like he was telling the police where they gonna be at every Friday behind the um, what was it, a restaurant or something, shooting
Yeah.
craps every night or every Friday. That's where we at. I'm like, well, why you dry snitching on that? They just talking about Snot Boogie and how he was robbing, but you telling them actually where the dice game at and what we all do. And
Was dice, is that illegal?
yeah, dice is illegal. You know.
The
On the
dice
street, it's illegal
part,
on the street. Yeah.
the dice, it's illegal to play the game on the street, or it's the gambling that is the illegal part?
Well, I guess, it's supposed to be just a gambling, but if they police you with some dice and you shooting dice, that's
They think
illegal.
you're gambling.
Yeah, anyway, they're gonna treat you like you're gambling, regardless.
Did you play dice?
Nah, I ain't
I
know.
don't. How do you? I don't even know how you do it.
I mean, I played dice a couple times, but it was never my thing. I couldn't see me losing money in a row. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, it's crazy how people do things.
Right. Didn't you once get a phone call from your daughter's school that she got hurt in a dice game?
Yeah.
what, what happened?
I ain't know what was going on. They called me, and they was like, yeah, your daughter, she hurt herself, but she's okay. She got in a fight in the school, in a dice game, and it's just like y'all don't understand. I'm half asleep, while my daughter at school, and take my little nap too while she at school. But I'm waking up like to a phone call about my daughter shooting dice, but they gotta understand she only 5 years old.
Right. So what did you say to them? That's what was so funny.
I was like, what type of school is y'all running? Where's the security at? Saying, how could the kids be shooting dice at 5 in the hall and getting a fight and stuff? Like, what's going on up there and stuff? She's like, nah. And they started laughing at me at the school. Like, no, it's not like that. They was learning how to count and they was using these big dice to do the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
And the kids was fighting over who was going to use them first and all that. And, I was like, thank goodness, because I thought, her life was, too fast already.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
people don't start shooting craps in kindergarten.
Nah.
Good. Good,
Nah.
good to know.
I almost thought so.
All right. So a lot's been written about that first scene, the Snot Boogie scene.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly sets up that we have kids in the city and groups of kids and gangs and so on. And we see that through the first episode. We see the trial, we see Stringer Bell showing up in court, making sure that D'Angelo doesn't get convicted.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll finish my little setup and then ask you to give some comments. So we see, and then we see the police and many issues with ethics, morality. It's actually interesting. I think we saw D'Angelo Barksdale having moral dilemmas and McNulty.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of sets up a lot of the themes that come forward. So let's go back to just kind of how you kind of saw and experienced the reality of what was being shown about what they call, I guess in the show, street and police. And, did it seem authentic? What do you think?
No. I can't really say that because when I was watching it, when I was looking at it, it was like, where's the reality in it? And that's when me and you was going back and forth about, it's a movie. How they got to get the story
Right.
across, so they got to get those points out.
Right. So what struck you as didn't seem
Him
correct.
showing up in court.
Stringer Bell.
Stringer Bell showing up in court was like asinine. Well,
You can say asinine. That's allowed.
okay. It's asinine to me because
Don't drop the F-bomb, but you can say asinine.
What fuck?
I just said don't say that.
All right, won't do it no more. Anyway, I didn't say it in the first place. Anyway, I just think that the boss should never. If you're the head man that's running everything, you should never show up in court for at any time. You should never be around nobody that's doing anything because it's a conspiracy charge. And he showed up in court, staring at the witnesses, to threaten them with his face, when nobody, including the witnesses, should know really who he is, and he should be so well endowed with employees that they should be the ones scaring the people and all that and everything, not him. He's there and he's scaring the people and he's showing his face to the police officers and everything and making sure the court case go through and they come back tomorrow, good job and everything, getting out of that one. And then he get out walking out cocky like he good. It's like you just put yourself to a murder. You know what I'm saying? That somebody else got killed for and you showing up in court for it. I can't even see that one. That was just, I don't know who wrote that part, but
So while we were watching and Diablo was commenting on, why is he in court? And I said, well, this is the part that's fiction and telling the story and making the points.
Mhm.
So to set up the whole thing about, who these people are, because we met a lot of new characters. It was the first episode, so we met new characters. We met Nick Nolte, we met Major Rawls from the police. We met Jay Landsman, essentially McNulty's supervisor. We met Kima Griggs, another detective. Bubbles, Johnny, D'Angelo, kids in the gang. So what's interesting, I think David Simon is known for trying to be very realistic in how he makes the show look and what people say, and I think tried to use a range of very experienced writers, but at the same time they had to take some liberties to get the story, to move the story forward, or else you wouldn't be able to meet those people.
I definitely knew who the characters was from the beginning, so I guess there's a lot of truth to that. But I just think that the first episode would have made it damn near the last episode, because everything was done in the first episode as far as him convicting himself as being the boss, him convicting himself as he coming to court, he convicting himself as protecting the murder, he convicting himself as scaring all the people in the courtroom from saying stuff and all that. And you're supposed to be the top man, and that means you ain't got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah. Wow. Well, presumably nobody really knew who he was sitting there, although
the police officer knew who he was.
Oh, that's true. Good
then
point.
the police officer, he was staring at
Scratch that. You're right. They did know who he was.
And they did know. Everybody knew who he was. He was famous, and he ain't in court for this guy. And the thing about it is, I would rather have his uncle be there in court. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that he was straight, because that's his link. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I wouldn't have me in court for one of my right-hand men's nephews that did something stupid on the body to make sure he get out of that. You supposed to just pay that money and make sure that happens, right? You know?
Well, maybe part of what they're trying to build towards is, okay, they might know who he is, but what do they have on him? And they're not going to have anything until they get the evidence, whether it's with something Bubbles does as an informant or through the wiretaps. So I guess they're kind of setting up like, we know who you are, but how are we going to build the case and go forward from there?
I can feel you on that one, because that's exactly what happened. I just think that Stringer Bell's street savvy, is a little bit slow. You know what I'm saying? He shows up at the regular small in the whole strips just to show police officers his face.
Yeah.
That's not thought out right.
Yeah, so that's another interesting point about The Wire, which is, where did Stringer Bell come from? Like, we see as the story progresses, the Barksdales are from Baltimore. We begin to meet, family members, but we'll have to come back to this theme of who is Stringer Bell and where did he come from? Because he's got this really interesting role with the Barksdales, but he's not family.
Right.
So I guess we'll come back to that point.
Yeah, we'll definitely get back to that point, because I would like to say that I think that start him off with presence instead of storyline behind him was good too because everybody else got a storyline really behind them.
And he's a mystery.
And he's a mystery. All he got is his name over top of a lot of things, but they got a name with a face too though. They got all that. They got everything on him, but what they can do to him?
Yeah.
Nothing.
So let me just throw out a few other things that you mentioned during while we were watching, which is you said, and I'm doing this because I think people who are going to watch what we have to say are probably people who are really into The Wire and they love to keep peeling back layers of the onion. So you talked about the fact that the strippers look kind of old and the music wasn't really appropriate. So could you expand on that, please, Mr. Flames?
Ain't gonna be no 47-year-old women dancing to Lou Rawls in no strip club right now. I mean, even back then, saying I was just noticing that, and what's so crazy is, well, it's not a curse word. I've been in that strip club several times. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hold up, all the girls be between look like between 18 and 25, like they're almost too young to be in there, and all their music is pumped up club. I'm hearing Lou Rawls and then the girls ain't really dancing. They just like looking at people. I'm like, that's the type of club you walk right back out. Oh, no, this one ain't jumping right here. Let's go find another strip club to see what's going on in that one. But this is like a senior citizen joint right here, a retirement home for strippers or something. I don't know what's going on, but so I guess he like Lou Rawls because what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, one of the criticisms about The Wire is that the music didn't fit the show. The first 3 seasons, and that's a theme we will come back to later because for seasons 4 and 5, that's where Diablo got involved because the powers that be at HBO and Blake Lay, the music director, realized that they did not have the right music, and I think Lou Rawls in a strip club makes that point about as well as anything could.
Yeah,
and it was old music. It did not.
And the only thing Lou Rawls from Baltimore.
Right.
They was playing New York music, all kinds of stuff from the past. It was like, well, that's the one thing they was talking about at the conference that the authenticity of the music being from Baltimore was desired because everybody from Baltimore was sending in complaints because they had all these Jay-Z and Method Man, all these famous rappers, and then Blake was like, yeah, we was paying them, thousands, hundreds of thousands, and all this, and millions of dollar budgets just to pay people to be on it. And he was like, yeah, but then, for them to spend all that money, David was mad because he spent good money to make sure that soundtrack right, and he get nothing but complaints on that. Like Blake said, David said, fix that. He was like, I gotta fix that. And then I seen he ran across our stuff. But we'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah. All right, well, let's wrap up season 1 because we don't want our viewers to fall asleep while we're talking. So we met a lot of people in season 1, and we've begun to get your perspective on what seemed authentic and what didn't. And
we forgot the rusty couch.
Oh yes, let's talk about the couch.
And first of all, even though they call it the canyon, right? You know what I'm saying, where they was
the
at.
Pit.
The pit.
The pit.
You know what I'm saying, where they was at. She had a canyon one time too.
Okay.
She did a canyon one time, but they got a big open project area. We're only surrounded by the buildings around the outside with a big open field in the middle. And they got a bright orange rusty couch sitting in the middle that they sit on and control all drug dealing from that point. So they can be seen from all angles, all day, all the time. I was like, that's never going to be done. I was like, that is crazy. Then the police come over to them, harass them on their couch. You know what I'm saying? And stuff and everything. And then they come right back to the couch and be running. I was like, this is not crazy, man.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little research on the couch and how that came to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a very iconographic image of the show, that orange couch. I've written about that orange couch. It's very symbolic in a lot of ways.
It's called a sore thumb. It was sticking out like a sore thumb. And they can't, that was crazy.
And it symbolized their gathering place. So, but I thought that was interesting. Like, that right away you were like, well, that's crazy.
Yeah, right, because D'Angelo was explaining to him, you can't give them money and sell drugs and give them the money and trade right there. They can get pictures of you got both of them and send one around the corner and everything. But then you sit right there on the couch with all of them. You know what I'm saying? And they get pictures of y'all. Exactly. Yeah. So,
I think one thing that's interesting is that the couch is not on the street, so it's not like the police are right there, although clearly on foot they could do it.
Yeah, in like a courtyard type of.
But the sense you get is the police know what's up, they know what's going on, and maybe they're not hassling the low level guys, they're looking for the higher ups.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. We're not looking for the drug dealers. We're looking for the murderers who killed somebody. So,
Yeah.
that was good. I just think that by them exposing D'Angelo's emotional value and lacking in hustling skills and lacking wits and lacking masculinity.
Right.
Because all that stuff came from him being scared and all that stuff start trickling
Right.
down.
Yeah, and we see McNulty similarly having moral dilemmas about things being done at the police. That's an interesting setup of these two conflicted characters. So, with that, we're going to get ready for watching episode 2.
Yeah, both of them saying we thought we was right, but we think something wrong. Even Nick Nolte and Angela both were saying the same thing. I know I'm with the police, but something cruddy. But so we got to do cruddy stuff to make it work. And it's like, hey, we got to be cruddy, but do we got to be that cruddy to kill people?
Right.
Do not be a witness? So it's just like both of us in the same party. Be good friends.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Diablo.